You guys are so great. Thank you. I'm loving it.
You know, sometimes people ask me why Friedman Adventures is involved in helping across the border. And the reason is because I had two parents just like those two right there who taught me from a young age to give back. In fact, shipped me off to Costa Rica to work in the missions for a year and later for a couple of years in Mexico. Wow, what a day. We collected so many great items and were able to warehouse them over at Gallagher Staging. My dear friend Joe Gallagher, always helping out. And all these guys you see here, lending a helping hand. They are always there to not only pick up the clothing, but separate it, get it ready, and then ultimately distribute it down in Mexico. Lindo. Thanks, everybody who participated. Those of you who bought a raffle ticket yesterday, that helps us a great deal. And man, I'll tell you, I am so proud to be associated with each and every one of you. All right, let's get to the fishing. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. And I mean beautiful. I mean, that is not an understatement. It is so gorgeous here this morning. Take a look at that beautiful Eastern Pacific. The sun coming up here on the beach. It's just a blessed and special time to be standing here in front of you. And man, do we have a lot of breaking news to talk about. Tanner Bank, we talked to you about that wind. It showed up. But did it put fishing down? We'll talk about that in a moment. Some really good signals south of the border. More flathead. Seen a lot of Dorado right now. Some yellowfin, and who knows? Maybe today will be the day when everybody gets some really good fishing yesterday. We'll talk about that. Channel Islands, they've got some wind. Are they able to catch sea bass and halibut up there? How about our local bass fishing up and down the coast? The Independence joins the Friedman Adventures family, and we start off with a 5-day trip leaving October the 20th that you can become part of. $2,250, 5 days on the Independence with Friedman Adventures. I'll be there shooting a video. It's going to be great. The food, the crew, the boat, the fishing. It's going to be magnificent. And I spent a great deal of my day yesterday with some truly wonderful, giving, altruistic people. We were gathering more clothing for our relief efforts to Mexico. And man, I got to tell you, when you start doing that kind of work, you attract people that are top-notch, giving, loving, wonderful people. I'll have some more on that also. You know what time it is, everybody. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh my God, so good. Such a lovely Sunday morning, and it's great to have you here with us. If you don't mind, hit that like button. It means so much to our success. Share these videos if you're enjoying them. Tick the bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. And of course, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures channel. That means so much to each and every one of us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok with updates throughout the day. And of course, I'll be over at 22nd Street Landing this morning. We're doing some cleanup, getting the studio ready. If you happen to be passing by, put your nose in there and say hi. You can also pick up a raffle ticket for our latest raffle. In fact, that's how you can help support our Mexico effort. Buy a $10 raffle ticket to get in and win a Pen Fathom reel. We're giving that away on September the 16th. But more importantly, you get to help us help others. And man, Friedman Adventures is so proud to be reaching our hands across the border to help our brothers and sisters in Mexico. And it's really not Friedman Adventures, it's you, each and every one of you. Like you saw on the lead-in, that was Andrew Wynn and his lovely wife and son came down with all kinds of stuff to send to Mexico. They went out of their way to come down. They went out of their way to pack it. They did all of these loving and giving things, and we are so blessed and fortunate to have people like that around us. And also, I want to thank Scott Buchert and his dad, Greg. They donated a ton of really beautiful clothing. And Tim Marquez, who happens to be a top-notch guy, Bob Gifford, Greg Bates, all showed up to haul, pick up, and then haul all of those items over to our friends at Gallagher Staging in La Mirada. Another wonderful family, Megan and Joe and Joey, always there for me for so many years. Joe, you have my heartfelt thanks for all you do, not only for me, but for people around this great big world of ours. all of these people deserve your thanks and recognition. And again, if you'd like info on the raffle, drop by today at the office, 22nd Street Landing. We'll be there until about 4 this afternoon. If you want me to send you a way that you can participate via email or via just sending me a text, we can do that. Send me a text for raffle ticket information, charter fishing information. Join us on board the Independence. You can do all that by going to 657-227-6459. All right, let's talk about the 550,000-pound elephant in the room. And that, of course, out on Tannerbank is the weather. I talked to many anglers who came back to 22nd Street Landing last night, and they said, man, it was bumpy and windy. It was a pain in the you-know-what. And the bluefin tuna fishing was not all that good. And we kind of had that same feeling from many captains that we talked to. We talked to passengers on the boats. Weather up and fish were down. There was some big yellows and some decent yellowtail scores, and a lot of guys dropped back and fished San Clemente Island. We'll cover all of that for you, but the bank definitely did not bite all that well yesterday. There were some scores out there. You look at the Thunderbird on their 2.5-day trip, and they had some really nice big bluefin tuna out there in that neck of the woods. They had 65 bluefin, 8 yellowtail, and they fished Clemente on their 2.5-day trip, and they had some nice calico bass. They had a great time. That's the thing. I mean, sometimes you don't catch them, but you can still, with a great crew and great people around you, have some fun, and they definitely did that. But a lot of scores out there were pretty pathetic. It was tough, and it's windy out there again today. Now, we're talking about boats from San Diego all the way up to Redondo who've been fishing Tannerbank. That has been the main area for that bluefin tuna. Is it over? Is that it? Of course not. There's so much bluefin out there. We just need this weather to cooperate a little bit. It's going to stay kind of breezy, but it'll get much better come Monday, Tuesday out there on the bank, and hopefully it's going to all calm down. Just a quick reminder that when you're fishing at night, right now you're going to need a 400-gram jig because weather's up, and 100 to 130-pound spectra, like 200-pound leader material. And when the captain says drop, you have to drop immediately. And if you see that your line is scoped way out, when you get 300 feet of line off the reel, you're not at 300 feet. So you're going to have to either cast uphill and let that jig swim or sink down in front of you, or you're just going to have to scope out some more line and kind of make up for the fact that you're scoping out in this kind of weather. Nighttime fishing's been hit and miss, but I talked to the Royal Star. They didn't have exactly real good, that poor nighttime fishing. So we'll just see. I think it's weather related right now. And there is some really great stuff on the horizon that I'll talk about right now. Not the boat horizon, although that's always great, but on the horizon, meaning I think we're on the verge of all that Dorado and everything else kicking into gear. When you're out on Tannerbank, it's been a lot of fly line fish. And, sometimes you have to drop down to 25 to get a bite, but that's a really dangerous game you're playing because you might hook a 5 to 40-pound bluefin tuna. And you can probably catch it with that 25. I know you can, but, man, you hook one of those 100-plus pounders and you are in trouble. So get bit on the heaviest line that they are biting on. That requires your observational skills. It means that you're paying attention. See what you can get away with. Most of the time, you can start with 40 and then adjust from there. If you can go up to 60 and get a bite, I highly recommend you do it. And we love Opsin Fluorocarbon, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. You'll get a free gift from owner Greg Brown. All right, that's Tannerbank. Now, let me get to that 5-day trip on board the Independence. We are sailing with the boys on the Independence. I'm so excited. That's going to be a great trip. $2,250 you book through their office. You go to the independentsportfishing.com website and book, or give them a call and book and get on this great trip. We're going October the 20th. Perfect time of the year for a 5-day trip, especially with all the enigma surrounding this warm water push from El Nino. God, I'm guessing it could be a real variety of fish like bluefin tuna and Dorado and yellowfin tuna and who knows what else. It's a perfect time of the year, and it's a great trip. I hope you'll be able to join us on that one. Independence 5-day, October the 20th. Friedman Adventures and the Independence teaming up. It's so good to have you guys on board with us. All right, let's check out what's going on in terms of our kelp paddy fishing, because there were some misses, some guys that actually caught just a few Dorado and had to fall back on rockfish, but there were so many good scores yesterday. Man, I'm very optimistic about what we're seeing and what's going to happen here this morning, this beautiful Sunday morning, because I think you're going to see more of it. How about the Liberty? 35 guys, 100 on the Dorado. That is great fishing. 17 yellowfin tuna, yellowtail to go along with it. Mahi-mahi, our friend Bill Wilkerson out of H&M Landing in beautiful San Diego, found a nice kelp, limited out on the Dorado. They ended up with a yellowfin and 4 yellowtail to go along with it. These are really good scores. The Point Loma had only 7 guys on board. 32 Dorado, a yellowtail, a yellowfin tuna. The San Diego, 32 guys. 100 Dorado, 11 yellowtail. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? Man, I'll tell you, we're okay here if Tanner blows for a little bit, because this is looking really good. I will re-emphasize to you, not everybody got them. You could have been on a boat yesterday that missed. I get that. It's all about finding that right kelp eddy. You have to work hard to find the right kelp eddy. I'm not talking to just private boaters now. I'm talking to you on the sport boat that you're on. Got a lot of eyes up there in the wheelhouse, and they're glassing and they're working hard. But every once in a while, it's a passenger who sees a kelp and says, hey, what is that over there? And the guy, oh, shoot, and they make a turn, you go over, it's the lucky kelp, and you slam out limits of Dorado. So get involved in the game. It's fun. And if you do find that lucky kelp, man, everybody's patting you on the back and celebrating along with you. Mission Bell, 21 guys, 60 Dorado, 3 bluefin tuna. Really good. Grande on an overnight trip. Limits of Dorado, Mexican limits, that's 2 Dorado per rod. U.S. limits, 10 Dorado per rod. Sea Watch yesterday, 26 guys, 63 Dorado yellowtail and a bluefin tuna. Man, that is some good fishing, I will tell you that right now. Most of that on the fly line bait, 25 pound is perfect. On that Dorado, you'll get bit. You got plenty of pulling power, fish fluorocarbon. Choose a good hot bait. Change that bait if you don't get a bite. And man, I got to tell you, I'm very enthused about what went on in the kelps yesterday. That is looking really, really good. There's quite a bit of good yellowtail out there on Tanner. I just want to go back to that for a moment, because True Line came in last night, and they had at 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. They had a lot of nice yellows. And the last time we heard from the Freedom, also out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, 310-832-8304. Get on a boat out of 22nd Street Landing and drop by and say hi to us in the studio here today. But I'll tell you what, there were up around 50 of those nice forkies, so that sounds pretty good to me. Don't forget, up at Fort Bragg, we continue to see outstanding albacore fishing up there. Up in Washington, we see great albacore fishing going on. That is all good stuff. The El Patron has several day-and-a-half trips running out of 22nd Street Landing. And man, not only is she beautiful and speedy and has a great crew, but you'll catch fish. Fishing with the boys on the El Patron. Book today, 310-832-8304. Island fishing down there in Ensenada area. We see some really good mixed bag fishing going on. The offshore is a little breezy right now, but they also have those kelps down there. You find the right kelp if you're fishing with your favorite pongero down there, and you can come up with that Dorado, yellowfin, bluefin tuna, a variety of other species. However, inside, you're catching bonita, barracuda, some good calico bass, occasional halibut. That mixed bag fishing around Todos Santos, Punta Banda has been pretty darn good. So that looks really excellent down there. We look at San Clemente Island, Thunderbird, and some other boys there with some pretty darn good fishing. Yellowtail biting very well there. You got to wrestle the sea lions in most cases, but there's yellows in I want to say 8 to 20 pound class, a few bigger than that. Fly line bait and also surface iron working really well on that fish. Catalina, you'll see some yellows. You'll catch from 1 to 5 on most trips over there, sport boat wise. And then you'll pick at the bass and the whitefish and the sheepshead. The Pursuit the other day had 3 white sea bass and some yellows to go along with it. So there is the opportunity and the possibility that that could happen for you also. Channel Islands, mostly rockfish. Yesterday we had some pretty windy weather up there, and it's still blowing up there in that neck of the woods. Looks like by next weekend it's going to be gorgeous up there. But we're going to have this breezy weather for a few more days. Less breezy, however, so that is good news. Channel Islands, there is still the possibility for a good hit on white sea bass and halibut. There's been bluefin tuna lurking around outside of there. It's still very, very good. Coral Sea out of Santa Barbara with excellent rock fishing. They ran a trip in memory of Robert Garcia, who loved to fish on that boat. His son is continuing the tradition, which I think is such a lovely gesture, and it's just got to be such a wonderful feeling on deck when you're doing that kind of thing. So beautiful, beautiful stuff on the Coral Sea as we remember Robert Garcia for sure. Great stuff. All right, let's talk about our coastal regions here. And down in San Diego, the calico bass bite, phenomenal all year long, but it's kind of really slowed up right now. Much slower on the bass, so thank God they have such great rock fishing down there. Picking away at a few bass also up there around the Dana Wharf area. Rockfish also on tap for those boys. We continue to see okay bass fishing here. It has dropped off quite a bit here in the last few days. I don't know if it's the windy conditions or what, but it's dropped off. Having said that, man, the native sun is on a roll. 3/4 day boat out of 22nd Street Landing. Limits of sand bass yesterday. Limits of sculpin. And those are some people who are munching out on some great fish tacos on this beautiful Sunday. I'll tell you that right now. They had great fishing. You know, when the bass bite is tough, as I tell you, drop down on your fluoro and you're going to get bit better. 12 to 15 pound. Works really, really well. A reverse dropper loop with a good hot anchovy down on the bottom, and you're on to a sand bass. There were other boats, though, that struggled. Monte Carlo had a tougher day in terms of the bass bite yesterday, and so did many other guys, with a few other guys also cashing it. But overall, we're dealing with some windy conditions locally also, and fishing was, not as good as it has been. That'll mellow out and start to bite. And at some point in time, I mean, with this El Nino and with that Dorado starting to push up towards San Diego, not only in Baja waters, but in U.S. waters, I wouldn't be surprised to see our local boys, 1/2 and 3/4 day boats in SoCal, catching Dorado here a little bit later. So that could happen at any point in time, and that's what we're here for, to keep you in touch with that and so much more. Michael Limon was down on the docks. He was there helping us sell raffle tickets yesterday with Grandpa, who's lost an incredible amount of weight and looking really good on the carnivore diet. He's doing good. But Michael caught this nice sand bass yesterday. I don't know how you can beat that. And I do want to mention that the guys from the KC Anglers Club out at Santa Ana River Lakes goofing off, acting like they were kids. You know, my mentality, and having a great time. KC Anglers Club, always not only doing great work in the community, but having a lot of fun getting kids involved in the great outdoors. There is perhaps no better thing than you can do right now. All right, taking a look at our surf fishing bite. Wow, is this tailor-made for surf fishing here this morning? Throwing a little chrome crocodile, like a 3/4 ounce croc will work really good. Lucky Craft might score you a nice flatfish. We're watching that barred perch bite down there around Newport, which has not manifested itself here recently. It's been kind of off conditions coming up on high tide, it looks like right now, so hopefully that'll get going. There's some yellowfin croaker spread throughout here, some good spot fin croaker down around Oceanside still, but all in all, surf fishing's pretty darn good. And your surf fishing headquarters right down the street here, Big Fish Bait and Tackle. They've got all your baits for you. You can dig sand crabs right out of the surf. You can dig sandworms out of the surf. Those sandworms are killer on a variety of species, including those spot fin. There's a video on the Friedman Adventures channel. Just search sandworms with Friedman Adventures, something like that, and it should pop up for you. And you can learn how to dig those little slimy devils up and use them for bait. That works really good. You don't want to go through all that? Big Fish Bait and Tackle, your surf fishing headquarters in Southern California. You're going to love it when you walk in that store and have some fun. All right, Independence, here we go. Rock and roll. October the 20th. Hope you can join us. We still have some other trips available. 657-227-6459. I'll send you info on our trips, the raffle. What else are we doing? Our Mexico efforts. All of those great things that you make it possible to occur. And I can't thank you enough for that. All right. Remember, October 20th, Independence, call their office, book today. Get on there. That's going to be fun. Can't wait to shoot that video. And so happy to welcome the Independents on board with us here at Friedman Adventures. Like, subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. Share these videos, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And man, are we blessed or what? Because this is really a gorgeous, gorgeous day. more than anything, I hope you are having a lovely Sunday with family and friends. Get outdoors today. You know what? There's a guy here at Surfside, and I went through this in China a lot, but there's a guy here, I don't know his name, but he has a very difficult time walking. He's got a cane, and he is out every single day walking. And many times I'll come out and I'll see him, and any laziness or lack of wanting to go for a walk that day just vanishes when I see this guy who's become an inspiration to me. I mentioned China. I would be chugging up a hill in China and ready to give up. You know, this is too much. I've had enough of this. When, you know, some 96-year-old woman would be coming down with her hands behind her back, just chugging along. She'd already made it to the top and was coming down. And then I'd kick myself in the butt about that time also. So anyway, I digress. Have a great day. Have a wonderful Sunday. It's beautiful out. Hope you get to catch some fish, hit the surf, or jump on your favorite sport boat. And more than anything, if I don't see you later today at 22nd Street, remember, it's an informal thing. We're just cleaning down there and goofing around. If you want to stick your head in and sit down and chat with us for a little bit, we would absolutely love that. Buy a raffle ticket if you happen to be nearby. Have a great Sunday, and I hope to see you really, really soon.